What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games or later on your favorite podcast service, B. Dave Walters and Erin M. Evans talk about all the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. If you're here with us live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But before that, Erin, B. Dave, who are you fine people for folks who may not know? You can't. I was like, you can't just say tieflings anymore. You have to say characters. Yeah. Oh, hey, hang on. Okay, hang on 1 second because I gotta do a thing. I think people should be able to hear you now.
Hopefully. Oh no! Do I have to do that again?
It might be fine to do it again. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, speed version. I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angels saga, which features Frida, Havilar, and Mehen. And I play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers.
Woo! B. Dave, who are you?
Important point about Cecilia, she is absolutely not a warlock.
Not a warlock in any way, shape, or form.
No. Not a warlock. B. Dave Walters, I say words about things. I play Freely the Lucky Boy, who also can be in your formation in Idle Champions. So far, I'm an underachiever. I only have the one character in the game so far.
I am still lobbying for a webcomic of the adventures of Freely and Havilar.
I mean, absolutely in a lot of sandwiches. Yes. A box of infinite sandwiches. Yes.
And the best girl, Zuni. All right.
Especially, but yeah, and then I can translate so you can know what the best girl is saying to you all the time. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And and I do stuff all over the place. You probably know all that. But hey, the new Pride shirts are available. Lambert House. There you go. Go get them. Your money can help some people, save some lives. That's it.
Right. And I'll be sure to remind you this at the end of the show as well, Erin. But someone's going to be on Dungeon Scrawlers tonight that we might know.
That's true. Today we have a special guest DM because our current DM is going to be taking his lovely wife out for her birthday. We get to play a game with Obo Lauren.
Yay!
I'm very excited.
Yep.
Exactly. But until then, we're going to be talking about some warlocks.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. Erin has said for a while she's got a warlock rant, and I kind of want that to start it off because I want to make sure we have time for it.
Okay.
So what is your warlock? I've been waiting
right into it.
33 episodes for this.
My body's ready.
Everybody's gonna go, that's it. Okay, this is the thing that I think about warlocks. So you have a character, they have a connection to a powerful entity, and from that entity, they get magical spells.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like it's a warlock, but what I just described is a cleric. There's a lot of blur between warlocks and clerics, especially when you have people like Asmodeus, who is both a god and an archdevil, and so has clerics and has warlocks.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that bugs me is I think we put too much pressure. The patron is an important part of a warlock pact.
Yeah.
But I think interpreting a warlock pact as the power comes, the patron is the battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's coming out of the patron. Right there, that's a cleric to me. A warlock draws their power from the plane, and the patron is more like a conduit. That is my argument. I will die on this hill. Which also clarifies stuff like you can have patrons that are not that powerful. Like you can get a celestial pact from a unicorn, which I think is like a CR 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Like that thing is not the battery. Like it starts to fall apart a little bit. And I think too that limits that when we say, oh, well, it's the super powerful being is the thing that gives you that the power comes out of. Mm-hmm. It starts to limit the kinds of stories you can tell. Mm-hmm. In Brimstone Angels, Frida is a warlock. Her patron is a Cambion named Lorcan. Lorcan absolutely does not have an excess of power, but he has a lot of warlocks. He has at least 13 warlocks. Mm-hmm. I didn't really count because it didn't matter, but he has a complete set of a total 13, which is the descendants of the 13 warlocks that helped Asmodeus become a god.
Ooh.
And this is this is a type of patron, is like a collector. Like I'm going to get fancy sets and I'm going to show it off to other collectors, and now I have a little bit of clout. And in a system like the Nine Hells, where hierarchy is important, like finding ways to sort of like shift your position because you have the fanciest toys totally makes sense to me. But you cannot say a Cambion is a great like power battery. You can, however, think of a Cambion as being someone who is going to pass you the hookup, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to get you the illegal cable, or is going to like go, oh, here, this fell off the back of the truck. And that was when, and that was for 4th edition, Cambions were listed as patrons for Warlocks. I think 5th edition, we put a lot of emphasis on very powerful patrons, but you still have the opportunity to tell a story where you are, getting something from somebody, and maybe that is a little more precarious. And it isn't because this person's going to turn on you eventually, right? It might be because that person's boss might find out, or that person is going to start asking you for a favor, there is someone else involved in your power resourcing, but they don't necessarily have to be somebody who's going to eventually be the big bad evil guy of your campaign. You can absolutely do that, but you have a lot more opportunities, I think, when you think about it as like you need somebody to pull power out of this for you. Okay, that's my rant.
I loved it. I feel it was worth the wait. But you made me think of, like, in my head, of just like the way clerics do spells. They cast it and the god's just kind of like, what? Oh yeah, no, I wasn't really using that. Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. But then like the Warlock patron is kind of like a magic player where they're just like, I'll allow it.
Yeah, I always thought of it as Warlocks or clerics with crappier terms. Or maybe superior terms.
Yeah.
Theoretically, a cleric lives their life in service of their deity. A warlock may not, but they're gonna spend some time in service to their deity though at some point. I think there's also the implication that with a cleric, the god is giving you something, and with a warlock, the patron is taking something from you.
Yeah.
It is an exchange. That doesn't come into it mechanically in the sense that the idea that it's like your patron is becoming more powerful because of you. That's not really written in anywhere, but it's implied lots of places. And
definitely
you're right.
an option, if nothing else.
Yeah. But sorry, go ahead. No, please. You.
Which is, this is another thing, is I think that, so the Infernal Pact, the Pact of the Fiend, that's a classic, right? And I have seen people go, oh, you sell your soul for magic. And there's two parts of this I'm so on. One is like, who makes that deal at first level, or whenever you pick the pact? I guess it's probably third. And then the other thing is like, if you are the devil, if you are the one making the deal, right? You want to do a one and done? Now you have one soul, right? Or you can continue to keep this going and look for ways for this person to help spread this corruption. And also, again, there can be petty reasons for giving out pacts, depending on how difficult it is for your patron and what kind of story you want to tell, right? Like Lorcan is not necessarily getting more powerful from this, but he looks good. He looks like he's doing work. Lorcan, so Glazja's like, yes, you are spreading corruption, I guess. And he's like, totally the most corruption. Don't bother me. People have reasons.
It is definitely a holdover from the game's infancy, where there was 4 kinds of magic. There was the divine magic of clerics, the magic of wizards, the nature magic of druids, and the bad magic of warlocks. They were just bad people. And then now that's expanded to where the dark side of the force, find too unnatural.
That's what it is. I forgot it for a moment.
The dark side of the force is a pathway to many abilities some would consider to be unnatural. Yes,
hey, Dave, I love you.
As the game has evolved, it was like, well, what if I want that, but I don't want to be evil? Which, I mean, for me, my feelings on the nonsense of the Grey Jedi heresy. Pick a side. I never would have made good warlocks, but I get that's where you got things like the Celestial and even the Archfey and things like that. So what used to be very clearly, you have done a bad thing, versus these people that haven't. as that evolved more to like, well, you could be a cleric of an evil god, but you could be a warlock of a good thing too, because as just mechanically alignment has become less of a shackle, the lore of it has expanded. You know, what I'd like to see, especially since you have now people like Strahd can have warlocks, I would like to see stories where somebody goes up against their patron or goes up against their god and their powers get cut off.
Yeah.
Where they're like, what about now? Yeah. You're like, oh no. Trying to Eldritch Blast it. You know?
I give them a little bit of and a little bit of
yeah, right? Because what they're supposed to reflect mechanically is warlocks can do less things but more effectively, which was supposed to reveal the scope of their lack of training. That, you know, that they're not divine instruments, they're blunt instruments. It's like I got an Eldritch Blast, I got some Hex, I got some Bestow Curse. Yeah, go.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're
like Asmodeus is like rooting through his robes here. You know, he's like, there you go, got some, got a little blight, little vampire touch. There you go, go be terrible. You know, yeah.
I think the other thing about Warlock is like, okay, so if you want arcane spellcasters, sorcerers, you got to be born with it. You weren't born with it, you don't have it.
Yep.
You're a wizard, you got to train, which means you got to find somebody who's willing to take you on. And so in the case of like Farida, right, she's not somewhere where like she's gonna get good. There's a guy who's a wizard who teaches her a little bit, but he's crazy and a drunk, so she doesn't learn a lot. And like, so what does she do? She's like, the whole story of Farida is like, she starts out, she's somewhere where she's isolated, she's powerless, and she's watching her world narrow in. She's watching it become something where her sister, in particular, Havilar, is ticking time bomb. Something bad is going to happen to her. She's convinced, and Farida's not going to be able to do anything about it. So when Lorcan turns up, because Havilar found like a summoned devil scroll and just did this and was like, look what I did, aren't you proud? She's like, absolutely not. This is a terrible plan.
And then Lorcan's like, hey, I'm pretty.
and realizes like Farida wants something she can't get, and so he can give her this, right? And it isn't a case of like, I want ultimate power. It's like, I want to be able to do something for myself, and I can't get it from all these other places. So I think that's another thing, is that you have warlocks, you can have people who are like, yes, I would like the dark path, and you can have people who are like, I need help, and someone takes advantage of that. I think what the cool thing about Warlock is that it's got built-in story. Like, who showed up and why did you say yes is immediately like, you have to deal with that question.
But I don't think it has to be the main antagonist every time. I see a lot of TikToks about that. I'm just like, they don't have to be like, that every time.
Cecilia's got an Archfey Pact, and her
you have a Warlock
patron
character?
Yeah.
No, she's not a warlock at all.
This actually gets into something like, whatever, like, I'm like, well, here's a kinder, gentler warlock. The general like world assumption is, no, warlocks are dangerous. Cecilia as a character grew up in Rashomon, which is ruled by masked witches. And she sort of grew up hidden with the masked wizards who are cloistered, right? She gets kicked out, or she gets found out and captured, and she runs. But she steals her father's mask. And so she presents herself as like, no, I'm one of these masked witches. I am learned and careful. But meanwhile, she's had her magic stripped from her. She has absolutely no wizard abilities anymore. And she's desperate. She goes to try to find her mother in the frozen wastes, and she finds this archfey, Haranawachu, the heart of the piercing. And she says, I'll make you a deal. I will give you magic, and I will give you information on how to find your sister. And the deal is, when you find your mother, you have to kill her. So cool. Cecilia's like, I don't plan on ever seeing her. Great deal. She left me when I was 3. I don't have to think about this. Oh, it's going to totally come up. But she isn't going to tell people she's a warlock, because that immediately makes people mistrust you. And it's a lot easier to get people to do things when they think they trust you.
Freely is a hexblade, and he doesn't know who his patron is. That's his whole thing.
Wait, really?
No, he really doesn't know.
I love that.
Avron says it's Avron, and Freely doesn't seem very reasonable, because he's like, you're right here. What do you mean you're my patron? Yeah. So yeah, but that's his whole thing. He's just born with it. He can just do things. That's his whole character arc, you know. Then on occasion I get angry and then beams of light shoot out of my eyes. Yeah, right. And also I can talk to aminals.
There you go. Which is honestly one of the best Eldritch invocations you can get.
It is.
It seems like a nothing thing, but it is the best. Not only is it useful, it's fun.
Agreed on both parts. Birds are always around. They see a lot of stuff, you know? Yeah.
That's fair. I should actually take it because I'm playing a Warlock in my game right now. It's a Celestial Pack Warlock. I actually really like the one that just lets you cast Detect Magic all the time.
Oh, that's good too. I love that too.
I just imagine my dude walking around like the henchman in Ghostbusters 2 when he's got the headlight eyes.
Just radar.
Yeah, exactly. So what I think we should talk a bit about the packs. The
packs. Yes.
What packs are available? Because we talked about you said there's the Fiend, Archfey, and for Freely, who knows?
That's true. Well, I mean, he's a Hexblade. I mean, he Pact of Violence. Doesn't know the source of it. Does I need a sword and a sword in my head? Violence Pact Warlock. Yeah.
The lore written for the Hexblade is it's a pact with a Shadowfell entity, but it is loose enough that I think you can change. Like, if the people at home, if you're like, I want a Hexblade, but I don't want to do Shadowfell, like, cool, because it basically is like, here's a weapon, like, do your magic with the weapon.
It's not the Raven Queen. That's he really doesn't know. Again, for friends who haven't heard me explain this lately, Freely is a bard, paladin, warlock, sorcerer. Which began as a thought experiment of a character that was built on all 4 charisma classes. And it's just worked out really well. Like, it synergizes phenomenally. He can do stupid things, but principle wise, he doesn't know. He's a sorcerer. He's a divine soul sorcerer. Oath of Glory paladin, swords bard, hexblade. So he just, as far as he knows, he just thinks about his sword catching on fire, and it does. Like, that's
and it does.
No greater correlation there, you know. And he just is there to do that. He's basically like Dirk Gently of Heroes. I just showed up.
Oh my god!
I'm in the right place.
What a reference!
Must be a problem that needs solving.
Oh my god!
What a freaking reference! Oh my god!
That's it. That's how it works. That's how it works. So when you guys hear like pretty much every conversation, I'm like, Freely can do that. Freely can do that. That's why. Yep, that's why. But yeah, pact-wise, there's a couple of them. There's the Archfey, which is what Cecilia isn't, of course. Yeah. Where, again, mechanically, it has evolved now where the different packs can give you access to some different magic. Like I said, Warlocks have less spells, a lot less spells, but they have more like accessory abilities like speak with animals and things like that, and in the few that you can do less things but you do them better. That's basically what it means to be a warlock, and with each pact you get access to different things you can do. So
because it kind of governs like what extra spells you get, right?
So Archfey gives you things like charm person and seeming, so you can make people like believe things differently. You get like fey presence where you can just do like a burst of like charm or frighten, stuff like that. So you can kind of mess with people's heads for Archfey.
Which is always important. Then Celestial is like you're bound to an angelic being, usually like an Empyrean, a Solar, a Kirene, a Unicorn. Like you said, it is weird having your Warlock pack be someone you can take. So maybe Averin has been Freely's Warlock patron this entire time. I'm like, wait, but if I just roll this guy up, do I get more magic or less magic? That's
the thing. Like, if it's the conduit, if you fight them, then your power's shut off. Because now you don't have a conduit. You need someone else first. This is an important part of Warlock etiquette before you switch, like, or just common sense. It's like switching jobs. Like, it's better to have a job offer before you leave the first job. Don't leave this patron until you have a patron lined up.
Yeah, don't let go of one branch. Grab a hold of the next one. Yeah,
I love a subplot where a warlock shopping around for a new patron, like he's going to job interviews and stuff. Oh my god!
When we did roll in the Family, the Slumbering Forest, Barnaby, Adam Bradford's character. That's what happens. He offends his Warlock patron in the first episode and spends the rest of the show looking for a new Warlock patron before his powers fail. Yeah, that
Your
does
patron
happen.
shows up. They're like, "Why are you dressed up?" They're like, no reason. I have
No
a
reason.
thing after work."
Yeah.
They're like, "Are you interviewing?" No.
Yeah. Why did you print your resume? What is this? Yeah. Mhm.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay. So
I mean, being a unicorn packed Warlock, though, you can make that work.
I really
You can make
cheated
that
with
work.
my Celestial Warlock. I was literally just like, he stared at the stars, asking a question to the heavens, and eventually they were like, "All right, we'll help you out a little bit."
Legit.
There you go.
Also, here's Eldritch Blast. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
That's
I can,
the answer to so many problems,
It is
though.
the answer to every problem.
Yeah.
I'll have you know.
It was
yeah,
the answer to getting us out of a cave full of were-rats, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, man.
Level 3.
Well, I mean, also Eldritch Blast is the sniper rifle of the modern world. Like the average person has 1d4 hit points. You're rolling around doing 1d10 as often as you like at 120 feet. It's like run if you like, you'll just die tired.
Well,
Pow.
it's also like you get a few levels in, and it's like, all right, well, actually, I can hit you from 300 feet away, and I can knock your ass 10 feet.
Right, and then I can do it 3 times. I can hit all of you. I'm Clint Eastwood with Eldritch Blast
And
now.
add
Bang,
my
bang, bang,
charisma
bang.
modifier.
Yeah. I will say with the Celestial Pact, though, I could very much see like leaning into a Paladin Warlock that you very much flavored, where you ride the unicorn. So like you go into battle on the unicorn that is your pact. Yeah, that'd be dope.
I love
That'd be dope.
Okay, so we've done
I love a
Archfey,
Paladin
Celestial.
Warlock.
I'm gonna do these in alphabetical order because that's how they're appearing on my screen. The Fathomless. Are you all familiar with this one?
Oh, this one's fairly new, isn't
Yes.
it? This is like the ocean
water.
one.
Yes.
So it can be like a kraken or something.
Yeah. Or like Umberly, but again, Umberly already gives you bad terms.
That's what I'm saying. She's just like, all right, plug in over there.
Mhm.
Yep.
Pull, if you do what I want, I won't pull the plug.
This is like the other side of Lovecraftian, though, because Great Old One is straight up Lovecraftian,
Yes.
but this is the other part, because, like, you know, like, there's terrible stuff in the water and also terrible stuff in the beyond in the Lovecraftian. This is the terrible stuff that's in the water. You know, this is Father Dagon and the Mother Hydra here.
If I remember correctly, I think this is the one that allows you to like summon a spectral tentacle to like come out of anywhere and slap someone, which I think is just great.
I mean, that is self-fulfilling. Yeah, that is just self-fulfilling. Yep. Grasping tentacles, fathomless plunge. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we mentioned
Pact.
we mentioned the fiend with Freya, but like what exactly is a fiend pact?
So
The fiend's the default. No, that's not. But yeah. No, please.
yeah, it's like this. You made a deal with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
There's space in there where you can do it with demons. I don't think structurally it makes so much sense with demons, but do you? So it's a lot of fire, a lot of offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once we've already accepted that you can have a pact with a unicorn, then you know why can't you have one with the Demogorgon? You know?
I want a new one that feels more chaotic because I feel like if you're going to have a warlock pact with the embodiment of evil chaos, I want it to be a different thing than the embodiment of lawful chaos. That's my big beef. That's it.
Well,
if I were going to make up something complicated that probably wouldn't make it through a playtest because I am not a game designer, I would say that if you have a demonic pact, you have to each level you're making a pact with a different demon, so it has each thing you get is a different kind of flavor.
Oh,
so that you have the teeming mass of demonness. There are probably lots of reasons that would not work, and I
can think of about 4, but we're among friends, so I'm not going to say anything.
If it were a novel, I would do that.
Yeah, it is interesting.
And then you have to like balance them all.
Yeah, it is interesting that it's just the fiend and that like demon and devil aren't separated.
Yeah,
because it does kind of feel like they should be a little like there should be a little bit of a different thing.
That also though is another holdover from a different time when some of us lived through the Satanic Panic and the parsing of demons and devils was all part of the problem. So you got to this point that you were like it's a bad, it's fiend, it's in the hells.
Yeah,
don't look at it. Sell your soul to it. Don't look at it. Yep.
Somebody
just put in the chat Fiend Folio. Oh my god, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Still a big fan of the Fiend Folio.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Throw stuff in there.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, but the hells, all the hells. And then Genie Pact. So here's the thing. Same thing. You could double up with the Genie Pact and also the Genie Sorcerer bloodline too.
Oh, that's right.
You know, yeah. Like, again, lean into it. And then aren't the Jinn a playable race now? Or, well, the Genasi are Jinn descended.
Genasi are,
yeah, they're descended. I mean, yeah, triple up on it. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm descended from genies. I'm a half genie and sold my soul to a genie. Like, yo, I heard you like Wish. So we put some genies in your genies.
That
so
is one of the
wish while you wish.
That is probably one of the most wild things that, like, I think it's the level 18 or something. It's just like, yep, you could just do wish a couple times.
Yeah.
Whenevs.
Yeah.
No.
Well, in Pathfinder, committing the gross heresy of referring to Pathfinder in our D&D show, there was a Jinn type sorcerer that could cast wish on command, but you could never use it for yourself. Someone had to ask you, like a genie. But again, you're in a party of people, so I mean, they're just doing it all the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. I'm like, yeah. And
what do I do with all these wishes?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, things go wrong quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the best way for them to go.
That is true.
So the Great Old One, like you said, it's similar to the Fathomless, but more spicy.
What exists between the stars?
Yeah.
Decides to give you Eldritch Blast.
Yep. I mean, and that makes the most sense. You know, this is the other side of the Lovecraftian mythos. You know, the Gonadar called that which lurks, Tharizdun the chained god, Dindar the night serpent, Zargon the returner, the great Cthulhu. It actually mentions Cthulhu.
Yep.
I was thinking Cthulhu. It actually says Cthulhu. So if you want a Cthulhu Pact Warlock, which, if you're thinking about it, the Cthulhu Pact Warlock should get a healthy dose of tentacles, I think, personally.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my wife's first 5th edition character, was a Cthulhu Pact Warlock. And she got very upset when she found out that other Warlocks could also cast Eldritch Blast. She's like, nah, that's mine. Like, I should only be able to do that.
I'm going to say, you take it from me. Yeah.
But you just flavor it. Like that's one of those, describe what your spell looks like, classics, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you should. Because every Warlock gets it, but every Warlock has a very different power source. So
yeah. Freely's is red and green like his hair, and the bolts come out of his eyes. Once I got to the point that I could shoot two, that's how he does it. Yeah. The madness, you know, what is between the stars, the two different the split of it, the aberrant mindedness. You probably could get away with having like a powerful beholder, or even like a mind flayer elder brain. That'd be messed up.
Oh yeah.
It's a patron. Yeah. And double up with aberrant mind sorcerer. See? Synergies, y'all. Synergies. Yeah.
You're not a min-maxer in any way, shape, or form.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know, the first step is admitting you have a problem. I am not prepared to take that step. It's an opportunity.
And then the anime class itself, the Hexblade.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
Yeah. You're like, what if I summoned a sword made out of shadows? and formed out of pure hate and rage. Yeah, it's the Sith Edgelord.
Oh my god,
it's pretty delightful.
Speaking of someone who plays it, it's that.
Yeah,
I'm going to play Darth Revan in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to make him a Hexblade.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yep.
I made just a one-shot character once, and I made my Hexblade a dancing sword, so I could throw it out, have it attack, and then resummon it.
It's pretty great.
It's good.
You're
stuff.
right. It is half the protagonist in anime. That is 100%
really
true, though.
It really is. With the Eldritch Blast, come on.
Well, but that, like Eldritch Blast, Hexblade, Eldritch Smite, things like that came along when people wanted fightier Warlocks.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm already not going to outcast the Warlocks and the Sorcerers. You know, at least let me get in there and do something.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, you can have a Shadow Sword.
I mean, the good thing is that, like, unlike most other spellcasters, Warlocks get their spell slots back with a short rest.
Yeah. And
that sounds good, but like when everybody else needs a long rest, you don't ever take a short rest. In my experience.
Well, see, that's why I got away with being the healer warlock, because I'm like, do y'all want to not die? I need a nap and a sandwich real quick, then we can get back to dungeon crawling.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, when everybody else needs the long rest or nothing, you tend to push.
Yeah, it's true. Lastly, and we hinted at this one earlier, the Undying.
Yes. That's not the last one. There's the Undead after the Undying too.
Oh, Undying was Undead. Oh my goodness, I mixed them up.
You know what it is? It was Undead in the playtest, and now that it's gone live, it's Undying.
There we go.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So this is the one where you can have Strahd.
Yes. Where you are a necromancer warlock, which synergizes well with necromancer wizards. And wait, what's the sorcerer bloodline? I now have to look it up. I've confused myself. It's better with a sorcerer than a wizard because you both have your charisma based, and once you split it up into being intelligence based, it is less effective but still joyful. But yeah, necromancer warlock.
Oh, okay. So I see somebody put in the chat, the Undying is the sad one from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, and the Undead is from Van Richten's Guide. That's weird, because I thought I had Van Richten's Guide on here.
Oh, I wish they'd named them different.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Yeah. It's weird. It was on here, and then now it's not on here. That's weird. I'm pretty sure you and I are looking in the same place. So that's bizarre that it's not showing up.
Yeah.
But it definitely is Undead Pact.
Okay.
In Van Richten's. Yeah, that's the one where you can have Daddy Strahd.
The ones who are listed as Undying patrons are Vecna, Warlock, Vlaakith. What's their name? The Githyanki.
Yeah.
Githyanki Lich Queen and Gilgame.
So is Undying more liches?
It does seem to be more liches.
Which is okay.
They get stitches.
I mean, God dang it. Okay, so Undying is lich based. Undead is everything else.
Other undeadish based.
Okay. So then like Aslan Rex would fall under Undying instead of Undead. Not confusing at all in any way, shape, or form. Not.
Of course not. Why would it be? Yeah. No.
Also makes me go, okay, well, if my argument about planes continues, what are you pulling from in those two cases? Especially in the world of Forgotten Realms, where there is the fugue plane, which is there's a Shadowfell is one of those, which it says is Hexblade, but I like Shadowfell a lot better for Undead. And then for Undying, I like fugue plane kind of because that is the place you go to get sorted. That's the transit center for people. Undead,
Arcerarak is an undead patron, but he's only a demi-lich, I guess. Kaz the Bloody-Handed, the Githyanki Lich Queen of Vlaakith.
Maybe they just overrode it.
Maybe they have access to both.
And
they're like, do you want
Rex.
Shadowfell magic or do you want Fueplay magic?
Yep. And do you want to turn into the form of dread? Do you want to get to be Diet Undead yourself? Yeah.
Diet Undead.
I can verify it works really well with the Reborn lineage now, where you're like, I've already died and come back, and now I work in service of undeath.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer to which Warlock Pact is the right one for you.
That's true. That is true.
Really think about what resonates best with your core wound and general character arc.
That is true. It's like you think long and hard on what's really wrong with your character, and then build accordingly. Not wrong with you. You're whole, complete, and perfect. Your character, though, not too sure about them.
Like, do you worry that people are always going to think you're evil, and you might also be evil? Hey, guess what? Fiend Pact.
Yo.
I'd like to clarify. Do people think you're evil, and you absolutely are evil? That's Fiend Pact.
Yeah. That one worked too. Yeah. No, Farida, I don't think Farida's not evil. Farida's not evil, and she's gonna.
Is she Fiend Pact?
She's Fiend Pact. Yeah.
But because she got a sexy fiend.
Yes.
Because she got a sexy fiend.
Yeah, Grath can have the leather pants pact warlock. You know. Lich Lord Pact.
Yes,
There you
exactly.
Yep.
So the another aspect of warlocks are the invocations.
Mhm.
What are warlock invocations?
It's kind of like a bonus spell, or it can modify a different spell you have. That I guess sort of makes up for the fact that you have 3 spell slots.
Yes.
Yeah.
At this point, my character is 11th level, and she has 3 spell
Oh
slots.
God.
Which is it's rough going, man.
Yeah, you just got to plan. I highly recommend a spreadsheet.
I have a spreadsheet for Freely.
Yep.
It's nice. It's like, is this the situation? This is the concentration spell you ought to choose, because a lot of them are concentration too.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
So some excellent Eldritch invocations, as you described. Beast Speech lets you cast Speak with Animals at will. Tons of fun. Very useful. The Eldritch Sight, which lets you cast Detect Magic at will. Very useful. There's a lot of ones that modify the Eldritch Blast. I like Agonizing Blast, which lets you tack on your Charisma modifier.
Yes.
Use it up because that's your spell casting ability.
And that's a cantrip, so you can just do it as long as you want, as long as you feel like.
Yeah.
I saw people saying that Eldritch Blast should not be a spell. It should be a class feature and free up that spell for something else. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
When you get to dominate so thoroughly with one thing, you can take the time to memorize that one cantrip. Yeah. Yep.
Another one that I went to my character sheet to look. I've got a Repelling Blast, which lets it so Eldritch Blast can push someone 10 feet.
Yep, there's one that can pull them closer too.
Yes.
Imagine that. You're like, get over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Is Eldritch Smite? Is that a?
Oh yes.
That one I like.
Yeah, that's you expend a spell slot and you do an extra d6 of damage per rank of a spell that you've expended. Yeah.
It does it does damage in the first place, and then so because you cast at your top level, right?
Yeah.
It gets beefy. I definitely built Cecilia as someone who grew up in a society where you're like, the people who have power are either spellcasters or berserkers. So her Pact Blade, which is one of the, you can choose, you have a Pact of the Blade, Pact of the Chain, and Pact of the Tome. And I don't know if there's other ones. I picked the Blade.
There's the amulet. Yeah.
Yep. I have that one. It's really nice.
So she has a giant, in true anime fashion, has a giant battle axe that she could not possibly use if it were real, but it's magical. So I like smiting things with that giganto battle axe.
And here, dear friends, I point out that if you are a paladin warlock, you can double smite.
Yeah.
On one hit, you can set off both.
Wait, so the Eldritch one is a free action?
No, you use a spell slot to do it.
You spell slot, but it's not an action. It's just when you damage. Smite is too. Smite, anytime you touch him with your sword, you can smite, including attacks of opportunity, bonus actions, offhand attacks, anything. If you touch them with your weapon, you can do a smite.
Dylan also is pointing out in chat that is apparently a D8, not a D6, so it's even better.
For Eldritch Smite?
Yeah.
Nice. Paladin Smite is a D8, I thought.
Let's freaking go.
Yeah. Very nice.
Very nice. I have the talisman.
That is a D8, yep. And knock them prone if they're huge or smaller. That's true.
I forgot that. I gotta knock a big spider shadow monster, a huge shadow spider monster on his butt, and it was amazing. I hit it like it was teeing off golf. It's one of my favorite game moments of late.
I love it. Yeah, the thing that I'm liking about the talisman one is the fact that like it's a boon that I can literally take off myself and put on someone else.
That's nice.
So like the invocation that I have for it is when the wearer of your talisman is hit by an attack that you can see within 30 feet, you can use your reaction to deal, currently it's 3 psychic damage to the attacker and push them 10 feet away from the talisman's wearer. So like I will put it on our any squishy people and
Tech Warlock.
Yeah. That's my whole thing. I even took the feat to get like a bar. I can cast Healing Word. I can do all the healing. Keep everybody safe.
I don't know that I would trust a warlock healer. Wait, which pact are you?
Celestial.
This is why you should just tell everybody that you're not a warlock.
True.
Because they get very opinionated.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. You're like, I need to read the terms and conditions under which this healing's taking place. Yeah.
Hey, no, don't worry about it. I'm a bard. and then
Yeah.
sing a little song while you do it.
Yeah.
Right, and they're
What
like,
are they
"This
gonna
seems
do?"
legit." I know, you're like, this seems legit, but now I can't remember my childhood. That's weird.
Don't know
That's
about
weird.
that. That's weird.
Just if you're going to be a warlock, make sure you take proficiency in deception, because you're just going to have to tell people lies to get through it.
Yeah, that is something I understand on the one hand why it's not this way. I would love to see more of a narrative drive of what the patron is demanding, what the patron is taking from you.
Yeah.
I understand why they don't lean into that, because a ranger is not out here having to appease any angry gods, or
and it's tough when you set up a story where the only choices are either your utter destruction or you lose all your power. So everybody else is up, level 18 and you're back to start. That can get kind of like sometimes you want to play a tragedy, you want to play the thing through where it's like it's going to be bad at the end, but I will have done it. I did the thing. But if you don't want to do that, then finding other ways to tell this story can be good, because it does, like I said, it has a lot of story. You have to answer these questions to start with, but then is the result only bad?
Especially imagine this jerk lore bard comes rolling in and picked up all your warlock spells with magical secrets, and is like, I just read about this. You sold your soul? Like, no, it's
just don't sell your soul.
Have a book. Look, Eldritch Blast, I can do it too.
I see Warlocks being people's like, listen, I wasn't born with it, and reading sound like a lot of work. So
yeah,
that is true.
Yep. I literally woke up and chose violence. Yeah, literally.
Pact of violence.
Yeah, it's also interesting too that some of the celestial pact things aren't strong enough to have clerics, so it's almost even there like, hey, I'm just trying to help the best I can. Sorry.
Right.
I feel the hookup.
I feel like if you remember in Avatar, when Avatar Roku first appears to Dang, and he's basically like, here's what you have to do, and it's really rough, and I'm sorry, little bro, but I can help you right now if you like.
Sorry,
that's
bro.
what it's like. The Solar's like, sorry, I can't grant you real healing magic. But here's Eldritch Smite. You're like, thanks, Solar.
Listen, I know you need me to heal, but I've got this thing at 11 a.m. So here, you can heal people within 30 feet of you. Bye.
Yeah.
He's just flying away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. The other gods are equally asleep at the wheel. They just have left you more robust care packages before they left. Freaking divine intervention. Here's a 9% chance I'll listen to you. Yeah, right.
We have done that, just as a sidebar. That has happened twice in our Dungeon Starters game, that our cleric tried divine intervention, and both times it worked.
Oh wow!
Which was just like the first time he was about to be dominated by Cecilia's evil father, and he begged his goddess for help, and she caused an earthquake. It was great.
That's awesome.
I mean, I same thing. I get not wanting to completely hamstring the narrative with a divine intervention, but when you're like, I'm objectively the servant of this god on earth, something terrible is about to happen that might be relevant to your interest here. If you could just
attention.
Yeah, right.
Sharindlar helps those who help themselves.
Yep, he's all polishing his stump.
All right, let's check in with chat and see what they've been up to while we've been talking about some Warlocky goodness. Cassius335 comes in with a hot take. Cleric should get Eldritch Blast.
False. That is heresy. No. Bad, Cassius. There's another bad.
I read it just because I knew that'd be the reaction.
Boo. Let Warlocks have their thing.
Garwar says, what qualifies something to be able to be a conduit and have a warlock?
That's why I
reasons,
strongly say, do they wanna, right? Are they from another plane, or do they have access to another plane? And do they wanna, my dream actually is, set aside the demon subclass. I think it would be fun to create a prime material plane warlock who makes pacts with people from other planes and gives them the kind of stuff that feels boring and ordinary, because that's how the weave works. If I could give Cecilia a happily ever after, it would be that eventually she becomes a patron for extra planar communities. that want like colored lights.
If you think about it, like the game as it exists right now, you should be able to be an Elminster Pact Warlock or a Halabaster Black Cloak Pact Warlock. Alabaster Booty Clap would do it. You know he do.
That's
he would
where
do it and then forget he'd done it.
The clapping's where the Eldritch Blast comes from.
But you know the strangest thing to me about that is, as Warlock patrons, they can give powers that they don't possess.
Yeah.
You know? Like Strahd doesn't have Eldritch Blast. I mean, I guess he could if he's gonna be like, I've got it now. What are you gonna do?
I'm my own
like,
patron.
Right. We were like, what? I got all the spell slots. What? Yeah.
Which, like, I believe her, like, I can't imagine Strahd being like, yes, I would like to be beholden to another entity, which is the part of becoming a warlock, right? You got to accept that this person now has power over you, for better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
so
they're
clerics,
lazy,
though.
like Lorcan, and are just like, are you still here? Cool.
Yep.
Don't talk to anybody.
Even though, again, it is mechanically not the best, there's definitely situations where you could be both a cleric and a warlock of the same deity. So you're like a little clingy. You know what I mean? You know? Yeah. You're a little clingy.
God, I
you know,
love
Umberlee's like, ugh.
No.
Yeah.
I got enough barnacles in the sea.
Yeah, right. And you're like, I just love you so much. Yeah.
Notice me, senpai. Yanidon says, if clerics are the counterpart of warlocks, shouldn't they be called peace locks? And to which I say to you, really? Really? Let's see.
I feel like are not the celestial warlocks the peace locks?
We are. I mean, come on. I made my celestial warlock a half-orc nerd, just a total bookworm nerd, and that's what he's like. I just really want everybody to like me. I'll heal you and protect you.
Through having mortgaged my eternal soul.
Once again, don't sell your soul.
Yeah,
true. I mean, I'm not using it. It's fine.
Ooh, this is a good question. Lucier Trueblade says, what if a warlock becomes powerful enough to attract another patron's attention and maybe turn against the first patron with the help of the second patron?
There you go.
It's possible,
That's called get the job lined up. For you.
It's true.
You
Don't
can
let
get
go.
the assist.
Don't let go of one brains till you grab
Listen,
hold of the
they're
next one.
offering
That's
me
true.
2 invocations when you're only offering me 1. I mean,
Hey! Shadow tentacles. That's all I gotta say. Shadow tentacles. Think about
That's
it.
actually, there's been a couple of books that have that. The Bruce Cordell wrote a series that I can't remember. The Abolithic Sovereignty, I think, and there is a warlock character in there. There's a warlock character in there, Japheth, who starts out with a pact. I think it's an archfey, the Lord of Bats, and then he jumps to a great old one, and that leaves the Lord of Bats pretty pissed. So that more powerful patron who will help you clear out the first one is a much better plan, because otherwise you have now made a villain for your character.
Which makes sense.
That's good.
You know, because it's like, you know, in LA, like nobody starts being rep by William Boris. You know, like you got to get the dude in the strip mall that will just take you on and book a couple gigs, and then you grow up a little, and then like everybody else is like, oh, we want you, but the old person's like, we got a contract, and then that happens in life out here. Yeah, with 34% less Eldritch Blast.
So like, I wonder if it's like having an agent, and I don't know how this works for talent agents versus literary agents, but like if my agent sells my book and then I go to a different agent, my first agent still has gets all the percentage off the first book if it goes into more sales. So does your Eldritch Blast still come from that first person?
And how awkward is that, by the way? That if you're like, I'm over here with this new deity now, but it's like you and your gross ex, but you still have a dog. Like you got shared custody of the dog. You're like, can I walk the Eldritch Blast? And they're like, yes. Yep.
Oh, I like that.
I miss you.
Garwar comes. I miss you. God damn it.
I brought you extra Eldritch Blast. You're like, I don't need it. I don't need your Eldritch Blast.
Garwar comes in looking for another blank stare from me when we asked what kind of packs are there. There's Pacts West, Pacts South, Pacts East, and there it is.
Garwar, why are you like this?
Why are you the way you are?
Doing it disappoint.
Doing it disappoint. Obo Lauren, we're talking about the Fathomless. How many is a quote healthy dose of tentacles? Is there a specific number I should aim for?
Remember when we did the Unfair Seas, our Idle Champions game that I ran, and Havilar was there with us. That was one of the things that the people had to vote for, were infinite tentacles was one of the options. And when they put the poll together, I'm like, Dylan, they're gonna vote infinite tentacles. Like, I mean, it's not even a choice.
Right.
That's when you're like,
why would you choose restraint?
Yeah, puppies are ground glass. Puppies, please. You know, all the tentacles, Lauren. All the tentacles. And remember that tonight when you run your game for Dungeon Scrawlers. I don't even care on the context of where they are.
We're landlocked. It's just like there's more tentacles.
There's more tentacles.
A sinkhole opens up, the ocean comes out, Umbrella is here.
There's always room for tentacles. Especially when they come from the sky. That's when it's really bad. Sky tentacles are unilaterally negative.
Lauren puts in the chat in all caps, done.
You're welcome, Erin.
Oh my god.
Whatever Lauren does, I know it's going to be amazing.
Cassius335 comes back and says, wait, Freely's blast come out of his eyes? I thought B-Day was finger gunning the whole time.
You know, I would, but he's holding his swords.
That's true.
Otherwise,
That's true.
Although he does finger gun for message, because with message you have to point. So you have to point at the target. So I always make it's like low from the hip though. Like that is how he sends message.
Message from the hip.
That is true. I make a point. He's always like, boo, and you just hear him talking. Yeah.
Oh man.
That is true.
Obo Lord comes back and says, yeah, nothing like Freely, the paragon of joyful smiles and bright greens and reds, jumping into battle with black sword of shadow and hate.
It's true. It is true. By the way, it's true. He's the sweetest boy. And then hey, they made it like that.
See, you don't have to be evil to have a pact. You just have to accept the scary sword and or the sexy fiend's promise.
Or don't even remember having done either of those.
Well, you didn't throw the sword away, right?
Yeah, to be fair, Freely does have a history of just walking up to magic items and picking them up without any thought of repercussion.
Okay, wait a second. Wait 1 second. I realize it's late in the day. I will pull this podcast over. Dear friend, viewer, listener, mi amiga, if you were in a graveyard of gods where gods had come to die willingly and their bodies were strewn all over the place, and you found a magical sword amidst a god's bones who came there of their own volition, would you not pick up this sword? Would you not take up this blade? It was pretty. It was covered
among
in
us.
among us wouldn't. And here's the best part about that. I picked up the sword and Todd was like, I'll give you the stats later. And I don't remember who I said it to. I think it was to Hope, but I don't know. I was like, you know it's cursed, right? Like, it's cursed. It is. And he sent me the stat block, and literally the first word, cursed. I'm like, of course it is. Of course it is. Why would it be? Why would it be?
Nerd Magic 92, I have a response for you, because the question is, what I like about the Hexblade is it encourages you to build your Warlock differently. Yes, but it also turns me playing a Warlock into any time I play Skyrim where I'm like, I'm going to do something different this time. And then 30 minutes later, I have a stealthy dude with bound bow, and it's just the same as it always is every time.
It's edgelord. I mean, there's a certain edgelord component to all Warlocks, but it's like the moment you pick Hexblade, your hair just grows over one eye. Just right then, just automatically. Yeah.
Gets a little spiky. Oh man. What? I don't. Maybe I'll get this. Garwar says, so your Warlock patron. So your Warlock patron could just be Bob that goes that got a plane shifted. It's just some dude named Bob. He ended up on a different plane. I would love that.
Imagine if they don't know it though. Like they're just like going through the motions and like, oh yeah, oh, he just put curse on somebody.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is like, okay, so if you're building this story and you want Bob, who is in the Astral Sea now, is giving you Great Old One Pact. Somebody's in charge. Like on any of these planes, there is someone more powerful who might be like, excuse me, what are you doing?
Oh my god.
Umberly doesn't like subcontractors.
I
Right?
just realized that like if you do have a lower level like fiend or something as your patron, you could literally be like, I would like to see your manager.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
You know what would also be a great story? Your warlock patron eventually, once you've gotten stronger, asks you to come help them get out of bondage. Like, could you get this one off my back, please? You know,
That's fast.
But this is actually a really
just
good point
good life advice.
specifically for the Pact of the Fiend. Like you have a hierarchy. So Frida has a pact with Lorcan, who is under Glasia, the Lord of the Sixth. So technically Glasia is like interested. And who's Glasia's boss? It's Asmodeus. So when Asmodeus like looks down and goes, hold up a second, like I need that. He can do that, right? There's a sort of flashback story about Frida's ancestor, Bryceus Kakistos, who makes a pact with Malagard, the Hag Countess. She tries to make a pact with Inernes, or she gets the Inernes to get the Hag Countess. The Hag Countess gets deposed. She's dead. But Asmodeus is like, I would like to pick your pack up. Like that's part of this is like if you were making a pact with some random unicorn who happens to be from the same plane as Mieliki, right? And then so the unicorn like passes you up to their manager.
Yeah.
That's possible.
I just realized that you could mess with packs the same way that banks mess with your mortgages.
Yes, exactly like that.
Yeah, by the way, yours has been sold to Cthulhu. Good luck. But we are running low on time, so we are going to have to head out of here. Erin, B-Dave, where can people find you and what awesome things are you working on?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can catch me talking with these guys on Writing About Dragons and Shit, a podcast about writing about dragons and other things. And a new episode just went up today with special guest Patrick Rothfuss.
Yes.
World building. And tonight you can catch me at 6:30 Pacific on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers, where we will be going through an adventure with the wonderful Lauren Urban. Lauren. So come and check that out and see what kind of tentacle problems we have.
Tentacle opportunities.
Tentacle opportunities. Being able to get starved as sound effects.
There it is. That's it. I'm just going to be there. And every time she describes something, I'm going to go. Tentacle opportunities. There you go, Lauren. The show's half written. That's my gift to you. Okay. B-Dave Walters, I say words about things. I do that. That thing you just saw me do. I do that. Big announcements coming maybe this week. Hopefully this week. If not, next week. I don't know. Time is an illusion. And catch me, speaking of an illusionary time, Thursdays at 4 on D&D Twitch and YouTube for the Black Dice Society, where I can't imagine potentially having Strahd as a Warlock patron could have any negative repercussions whatsoever.
Not at all. Ever. Totally fine.
Sure, he won't pay any attention to
that. You can find me on the Difficulty Class podcast every Friday. I had to think about that for a moment, as well as on Writing About Dragon Shit with these two lovely people, which a new episode, like Erin said, went up today with Pat Rothfuss, and it was awesome, and it's just pure chaos with the four of us, and it's great. So definitely check that out. You can also find me on Twitter at the Treavor. There is an A hiding in there. Thank you so much, Jay, for moderating the chat, as always, and doing a fantastic job. Thank you to Codename for letting us have some fun talking about some D&D. If you missed any part of this show, you can catch it later at 2 p.m. as a podcast on your favorite podcast services. And if you have any suggestions for future topics you would want us to talk about, you can send those into Champions of Lore at codenameentertainment.com. If you're live with us right now, be sure to come back in an hour for Mars's Guiding Hand. And then I was wrong yesterday. I'm correct today. Sketching hour at 3 p.m. So be sure, hang out, have some fun, and get some Idle Champions goodness going. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. So until next week, Champions out.